All right, we got these two stacks and we'll be going over them right now. We're going to start off with the raw. So Ernie Lombardi, 1934. I actually picked this up from James. He's another YouTuber. Actually, one of the first YouTubers I met at a card show, and we both enjoyed vintage cards. So he's now setting up and has really awesome inventory. But early Hall of Famer, a classic Gaudi set. Next, Willie Mays All-Star. I know this is like way OC, but I thought it was pretty sharp overall. A T70 of Washington, the inauguration, which is the first inauguration in the United States, right? And I thought it looked pretty sharp for this one, probably like about a 3-ish grade. So I had to pick this one up. And I know there's a lot of different backs on these. I haven't done my research on them. So if you are a little bit more familiar with the set, let me know if there's like variations on these backs, if there's premiums. Now, I do know that there are like silver cards. It's either the T68s or T70s that there's like silver editions of those, because I did see them at the card show and I wasn't actually familiar with them beforehand. And again, just the thing, sometimes seeing new inventory as well as just talking to dealers. So yeah, let me know on these backs. I'm curious. Other All-Star, we have a Hank Aaron, again, way OC. A lot of cards from this year are OC, but this will probably be something I end up selling raw. I don't think this is grade worthy by any means. Probably what, like 3-ish? I don't know. A cheap mantle, but actually this looks pretty nice. I know it is OC, but like if you look at the corners, like they're pretty crisp. And this is actually on a lot of mantle cards. I've graded some with this. If they are off-centered like this, you will get some of the edge of the sheet right over there. I like turning it over to the back too. Looks pretty nice overall. See that? The only thing actually I noticed now is I do think it is trimmed a little bit. You see right over there. I'm thinking this one's trimmed, but not 100%. We'll have to take a look at it a little bit closer, but I'm like 90% sure this is trimmed. Okay, so up next is this Grant card, and this is a French edition. Now, the thing with France cards, which is kind of interesting, is most of the stuff that you see over there is going to be either trade cards or Felix Podens. Felix Podens had like 4 main sets, but they also made a lot of trade cards. A lot of other trade cards that you do see is, I think they're called Chicory. I could be saying it completely wrong, so I do apologize if that is the case. But I honestly love this image. I assume it's like late 1800s, maybe early 1900s, but I couldn't find much on this card, honestly. Again, if you do know a little bit more, please let me know. I'm always trying to learn as much as I can, absorb knowledge. But I love the image on this one, right? The American flag over there pointing. And I know it's hard to tell because of lighting and stuff like that, but this has like a T205 gold finish to it, and it's a beautiful card in person. Okay, so this is a T51 actually of Abraham Lincoln, and this is actually considered one of his rarest cards. I do want the full-sized one, but they don't pop up. Like, this is an extremely, extremely rare card. And sometimes you have to take a trimmed card and then just upgrade it over time. And this is one of those cases where like there's so much demand for this card. This trimmed one is like very, very popular in itself. Now, not only that, but the whole back is skinned, trimmed. So like this is probably like the worst shape you could find this card in, to be honest with you. And I'm going to put up a picture of the actual full-size card. Very, very rare. So I do want to upgrade it, but sometimes like those type of cards don't pop up on the market for 10, 15, maybe even 20 years. So to grab this first one, I'm okay with that. I think the only president that I've seen sell is James Monroe, and I know there was a lot that sold at auction in 2006. So like, you just don't have that many opportunities to pick this type of stuff up. And I do have a pretty big historical figures PC, and you know, I try to add presidents in there too, because they technically are historical figures. So I've actually been picking up quite a lot president cards recently. Been pretty lucky, and you're going to see one of the pickups over here after this Lincoln, but still something really, really cool. All right, very cheap Alkaline rookie. This side of things, right? Nothing too spectacular on that one. Joey Votto, like 2006. This will just be ComC stuff right here. I don't know. I'll have to see if it's worth getting graded or not, and then ComC it. Bob Beller bought this one raw. I thought it actually looked pretty nice. Maybe it'll go in grading stack. I don't know what the grade, like what they sell for. I have to run some numbers on that side of things, see if it's worth it or not. But yeah, it's a nice looking 1955 Bowman. Probably like, I know it's off-centered a little bit, but it still looks probably like a 4+. Another ComC card, gold label, Joe Mauer. Go. I'll have to see if this is worth grading or not, but masterpieces, Max Scherzer. And just like, I know I don't do a ton of modern stuff, but it just seems cheap that you can get like Max Scherzer rookie cards. And this was more of a premium brand back then too. I opened up some packs of this, but it's like, it's a good quality card. I'll just say it like that side of things. But to pick it up for $5 for Max Scherzer, especially for how good of a pitcher he is, right? Kenny, I have no idea who this is, to be honest with you. Champion Bronco rider. But there's a lot of baseball players and boxers in the set. Now, back is to be desired, right? But again, I'm picking. I actually traded for the whole lot, so I didn't technically pay for it. But the same side of things, right? Like, someone will want to have this. And like the front does look pretty nice overall. Picked up 2 presidential cards in blue. Now, these are both spoken for. I've been helping Alex, another collector of the set. Well, I'm not building the set, but he is in blue. So he needed both of these. And there are ones, like you can see the creases over here, creases there. But blue is the rarest color in the set. The only blue that I have in my PC is FDR. And maybe one day I'll pick up a Lincoln, right? But for me, I'd rather go after some of the presidents that have stuff in the 1800s, but that's my own personal collection, although I do really respect the set. The one to know is McKinley in the set. Super, super hard to find. And I don't think he does have a blue. I think it's just a red. But the blues are the toughest if you do see those. And if anyone has any, hit me up. Because I know of 3 or 4 people building the set. So I always try to hook them up when I see them at card shows, or I end up purchasing any lots that have them in there. Okay. I think we're on our last roll card. Just a Zach Wheat. I have a Zach Wheat collector on Twitter. And probably we'll go over to him on this one if he doesn't have it. Nielsen's Chocolate. It does have some paper loss here on the back. You can see right over there. And some paper edition. So this is a 1 all day long. I mean, even with the corners on the front, this would be a 1. But still, Hall of Famer, Nielsen's Chocolate. Nielsen's Chocolates aren't the easiest to find. They're not rare by any means like that. I mean, in scope of things, you're not going to find a lot of them at card shows. But you can find them if you want to find a specific player or not. Okay, now we're going to go on to graded cards. So there's that first stack, right? Okay, here is the graded side of things. So first, 1956 Topps Willie Mays. 56 Topps cards move for me pretty easily. And I thought it was pretty good looking. Now, it is definitely off-centered, and a lot of them are. I mean, if you find it centered, you are getting a nice premium on that specific card, especially in the mid-grades. I see it quite a lot between like 4s and 6s. So, but overall, a pretty clean copy. It looks nice, and it's also a new label. I thought this was fantastic over here. 1960 Mickey Mantle. Like, this card is super, super sharp. Colors are very vibrant on it. And, yeah, I got that one. Now, surprisingly, like, I was talking to a few dealers. Mantle wasn't moving at the show on the vintage side of things. I don't know why, although I still think the Mantle market's way higher than it really should be. But again, that is my opinion. I think Mantle has a way to go down. I think his cards are pretty pumped, but again, my own opinion. 1958 Willie Mays in A4. I mean, I think this looks very comparable to the other one that I picked up. And just to show you where that's at, right, opposite sides this time. But like, if you look at the corners, right, and that's kind of what I saw, except this is a little bit better centering. So like top to bottom, I'd say very similar side to side. Like, if I was grading this one, I would think I'd get a 4.5 maybe. And you can see like the back's actually centered on this one. 4.5, somewhere around there, right? But still, that is why I picked it up. This is actually an upgrade in my PC, so I do have a Sears. Mine, I have a really nice looking 1.5, but it does have a pinhole in it, which again, you can't really control sometimes, especially on the pre-war side of things. But getting a 4. Now I did miss on like an 8 or something like that sold earlier this year. I wish I saw that. I would have probably bid on it, but I'm happy with this upgrade. It does have a little bit of staining on the back. So like in today's terms, this would not be a 4. But like the front looks very nice and I'm perfectly okay with that. I thought this one looked very clean. It's obviously authentic min size, right? So it's not a trimmed card by any means. But again, you just have to take a look at the quality of the card sometimes. And I thought it looked really good. So someone will pay up for that because like ones sell for 140, 150 bucks. And this is nicer than that and already graded and everything like that. Again, how this looks. So now there's a little bit on that corner. But these 1955s, like they're very tough to find nice on the front side of things. And this has great presentation. Another 1955, this is Mickey Mantle. This one is a 4. But again, really nice presentation on this one. Though it is definitely OC. You guys can see the left to right on this one, but good eye appeal. Picked up a Duke. His stuff has been pretty popular. This is just a classic one, right? Like you can see some wrinkles on it. It does have some writing here on the back, but I do have people that ask for his cards, and I grabbed one. Just see how it does, right? Take those chances, and it's not a bad looking one overall. Technically, obviously, it's a 1 from that perspective. So 2 oversized cards here. We'll show you the first one I picked up in a trade, and this is the Abraham Lincoln. Now, I definitely did overpay on this card. I'm just going to be straight honest with you guys. But sometimes you have to pay up for some really good quality cards. Because this is like generally a really, really good card. But the market is just not there for it yet. And it could be long term. But like to get a numerical grade on this card, I mean, I think there's like 4 or 5 out there. And I think 2 of them are authentics. And I think there's 1 for... I think it's SGC 4. There's a PSA 2. So like this is the second highest graded across everything. So it's like, it's hard to grab these type of cards. And often when you get a non-sports, like when you get some of the highest graded stuff, pretty much whoever has the card can ask their price because you're not going to find another one. And I missed out actually. In fact, someone had an authentic on eBay last week and it sold straight up for $1,500. I would have bought that card, but it sold. And I knew the seller that had this, but I really wanted this card. The other reason why I really wanted it is I actually picked up this week. The US Grant, right? This is Grant. And this was a 3. And I was like, these have to be together. Like very similar grades, 2.5 to a 3, both SGC graded. Although I do need to get this into a new slab. So I'll give that to SGC eventually. I'm not in a like urgency to get that new slab by any means like that and get them lined up, right? Like you can see the cutouts are different, but I wanted to get the pair together. So got the Grant earlier in this week, and then I brought some trade bait up to the card show to be able to get this Lincoln. And I'm glad we're able to make out a trade for it. So in general, like I traded for this Lincoln as well as the Sears 4 and a bunch of the Raw non-sports that you guys saw. I gave up a T205 Walter Johnson. It had a sovereign back. I gave up a 1953 Page. That was 1. It did look like a nicer one. A Hank Aaron rookie. And then an Ogden Mark Twain 4.5. So like trade value wise, I think it was like about 3,700. Now the Raw cards in the Sears was about like 700. So the value on this Abe Lincoln was 3,000. I think current market with this Lincoln is probably about anywhere from like 2,200 to probably about 2,500, maybe 27. But when you get into like single digit cards, it could be higher, it could be lower. It just depends on the auction. So definitely had to give up a lot for it, but I love the card. And this isn't going to be moving out of my PC unless I somehow get the 4. Other stuff I can always replace. And honestly, none of it was in my PC. Now, I am going to be selling some cards on my PC just because I have bought a lot of cards recently. And that's where the interesting conversation goes, right? It's like, what card are you going to give up and can be replaced again. So like, just to show you guys some of the stuff that I brought just as like potential trade bait. And it's tough, right? Because like for my PC, I like grabbing rarer stuff. It's like I brought this E93 Cy Young, Propaganda's Montiel Joe DiMaggio, a coupon Ty Cobb, and then a Campy and a 7. So like, I'm not going to sell all these, but I might sell 1 or 2 of these cards and we'll figure out what happens, right? Because I have been buying a lot of stuff, and I'll show you guys some of the other non-sports stuff I do pick up over time. But that's essentially why I made that trade, right? Like, I can find other cards again. I'm not going to find this 2.5 Lincoln, and it's perfectly okay to overpay in some instances. You know, the value of comps, everyone always wants to say, oh, what's the last comp on a card? But no one wants to like research the scarcity of a card, like how much time it actually takes you to find a card, between, you know, researching if there's any in auctions or like eBay, or reaching out to collectors that might have it in their collection. Then you have to barter. Then you have to figure out, like, time is valuable at the end of the day. So factor that into your trades if you're going after some stuff in non-sports, especially if it does take you quite a while to find a specific card. And like in this instance with that Lincoln, there's not many of them out there. And even like the same with this Grant, right? There's not a lot of them out there. So sometimes you do have to overpay on that type of stuff. And it's okay. That's how the non-sports market works. It's not like a mantle where a mantle sells every single week. I don't care. The 1952 mantle, there's going to be multiple sales every single month on that 52 mantle. It's not a rare card. 51 Bowman mantle, right? Not a rare card. So as food issues, that's a little different story. But like that type of stuff you can always find. Non-sports, completely different. And it's way different than modern cards. And I think everyone in this channel knows the artificial scarcity on that. But not to go on a rant. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy the Dallas card show pickups, and I don't know if I'm making this separate from the card show vlog or not. If not, make sure to watch that card show vlog as well. Anyways, see you next time.